Welcome back to OpenLine, talking about the contributor. We have with us the Executive Director, Brady Banks. And as we went to break, I wanted to ask about where you see things going. Do you see the contributor growing? Where will it be in 5-10 years in your view?
Sure. Well, I think the first things first. We want to make sure we're absolutely on good financial grounds as an organization, that we're operating well, that we understand how we operate, and that there is what I call sound general management of the operation. After that, I think the sky's the limit. There are models around the world. The big issue, Australia, is another street paper. They actually operate in Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Canberra, Perth, you name it, a city in Australia, they're operating there. They have multiple distribution points in each of those cities too. And I think that's something that we might be able to learn from them in terms of the model, because why not have a distributional point somewhere further south in Davidson County or somewhere further northeast. That would be good, because we have people who live in those communities who are homeless and who might want to do this work. So we see our future as helping more people become micro business owners and earn an income. And ways for us to do that are through broader distribution and getting the paper out there to those distribution points. So I think that's kind of our next, our next step is getting to that place. That could mean going outside of our region. It could mean just staying within the Middle Tennessee region. We'll have to sort that out. But we just want to make sure that we're serving more folks and creating that opportunity elsewhere too.
Sound general management. Are you there right now?
Well, I like to believe so. I think we're asking the questions that need to be asked. I think when you have a startup of any kind, and that's what this was. I mean, it was pure startup. Tom Wills, who's our co-founder, and Tasha French-Limley, who is a co-founder too, and our founding executive director, they both would look you in the eye and say, "We just got lucky. We just had a very friendly city who kind of got what we were doing and got behind us, and a population of homeless people who were willing to jump in and try it out." So I think when they were starting it up, it was rip roaring. We went from selling 0 to selling 1.2 million on the streets in 2013, and once you have 1.2 million of anything going out the door, you have to figure out how to manage that. And I think going from startup to management of an operation is apples and oranges, and that's where we're trying to get it to now. And I think we are in a good place where we have asked the hard questions about what do we need to do to make this operation better, and how can we move forward so that we are introducing into our vocabulary the idea of net profit when we sell our paper. And
you said you've added people to your board. Mm-hmm. It is a nonprofit, so
right.
You've added some qualified people to the board. Are you going to be doing more community outreach, or what do you see as far as that goes in the next year, 2 years?
Well, this year is actually going to be a big step in the right direction. We are trying to be more aggressive about being in the community and educating the community about what we do, because I think there's still a lot of murkiness that shrouds what we do. Bottom line is we want people to know, because we think it's important for the community that we're in to know, and to know how valuable what we do is in the community. So we will continue to be doing that. We have actually have a fundraiser coming up where Mayor Megan Barry is going to be speaking March 10th, and we're excited about that, and we think that's a great draw to pull people in so we can educate even more folks. And then also, fundraise. It's something we've got to do pretty regularly. And then, of course, we're doing more outreach in terms of getting people to sponsor the work that we do and advertise with us. We have a circulation of 10,000 papers a week, and we're fairly certain that where those locations are, where the paper's being sold, so we know what the eyeballs are and where they live. So we're hoping people see it as another venue, to get their word out in terms of what they want to sell or what they're interested in telling the public too.
So you're fundraising, and again, you are a nonprofit. How much could you be self-sufficient based on just the sales, or how critical is the fundraising?
I would say the fundraising is critical because the sales alone would only fund about 50% of what we do. So we have to have fundraising at this point. Now, as we grow, it's a possibility that we could tilt the percentage much higher than 50% and much less on the fundraising end. That is a goal, I think, long term. We'd like to see our revenues, from the paper sales be the majority of what we use in terms of to pay for expenses. That's a effort that takes some work, and we're going to try to get there. But right now it's split pretty much down the middle, with the advantage of having advertising too, which supplements our revenues, because we didn't have a robust advertising effort, and we've been growing that the past year, and it's grown by 400% in the past year. So that effort's really taken off, and we're proud of it. So we think that there's only growth there, only growth in revenues, only growth in fundraising. We just have to do the work to get there.
One of the best stories I saw, and I was telling you about this, was, and it wasn't done by me at our station, it was about a woman who was selling the Contributor, and she lived in a tent, and I can't remember where. This was several years ago. She lived in a tent. She would wake up, go to class, and no one would know that she lived in a tent.
Right.
And then she would go get the Contributor, and she would sell that on a corner, and that's the way she would make money. And then she'd go back to her tent. You must see stories that just blow your mind and inspire you. I mean, is that something that you have seen in your time doing this?
Oh my goodness, I couldn't repeat all of them to you. There's been so many stories. My favorite time truly is Monday morning, when a third of our vendor force comes in the doors at Downtown Presbyterian Church, and I get to greet them, I get to see them, I get to talk about their week. I get to hear their complaints about, whether or not we're selling enough, or, the way we operate. I get to have a relationship with folks, and I get to hear some of these stories. People who have had severe addictions that they've overcome, people who've gotten off the streets and they have keys, and they love to show the keys. We love when people bring their keys in when they have a new apartment or a new home. Those kinds of stories, a lot of people would kill for a job where every single day, every single moment matters to a person's well-being and livelihood, and we can count on that every single day, and we get to see it up close. So to me, it's a great honor. It's the best gig I've ever had, the most challenging gig I've ever had, but with the best cast of characters I've ever been around. So, and I've been in politics, Ben. So,
yes, you have. Yes. Is there a misconception you think people have that if you could clear up, one or a couple of things? Are there things you think people don't understand that you wish they did? Yeah,
there's a couple. I wish first people would understand that we view our vendors as business people. They are a sales force. They're just like any other salesperson that might be a part of any other business that's out there, with goals, with quotas, with dreams, as personal dreams. So I wish people would understand that more. And I'd also wish they would understand our model just slightly better, where they would understand the importance of dignifying that transaction between vendor and customer when they take the paper, and when they take that paper and reading it. That really is what we're after. That's what we want to see happen, because that's the way we dignify the work they're doing. Otherwise, again, all we're doing is doing a different form of panhandling.
I have several times when I've bought the paper, the vendor will say, "Read page 3. My article's there."
Yes.
How many of the vendors actually do write for the paper?
Quite a few. We actually get a number of submissions week to week. Poetry, again, art, some prose, and then we also have people who write articles. It can be on anything that they experience in the out there in the world. And they go through the regular editorial grind that anybody that writes would go through, and they're chosen to be placed in the paper. So we usually have about 10 poets that are published, 2 that we have prose that's published, and then art that from 2 or 3 every week. So you'll see those, and then of course we have the vendor profiles, where you actually get to see a Q&A that tells the story of a vendor each week, and you get to be inspired by their story.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap everything up. Take a break. Be back right after this.